Welcome back to another fantastic episode of the Fit Freedom Podcast. I am so excited you are joining us today. We have an amazing guest speaker on, and you guys are going to love her. She's going to give you a ton of knowledge on essential oils and how that can help you in your health and in your money life. So let's get started right away. I want you to meet Tena. She is spontaneous, strategic, adventurous, and if you aren't careful, she may just push you out of your comfort zone. In 2009, she left her big girl job and launched into entrepreneurship. She built a digital design agency up from the scratch, but after 10 years in the field, she kicked the office to the side and found herself as a work-at-home mom. She did the one thing she thought she would never do, which is she jumped into a company that wasn't her own. This company happens to be doTERRA, and she proudly wears her networking marketing badge of honor. She rose in the ranks, brought her hubby home from corporate, and now focuses on helping other women do the same. You can find her hanging out in Instagram, her podcast, Tena Talks A, or if you're local, you can check her out at a coffee shop. So I just want to welcome you on the Fit Freedom Podcast. I'm so excited to have you today.
I'm super honored, so thank you for having me.
So let's just jump in. How can essential oils help someone get or stay healthy?
Ooh, good question to start off with. So kind of just a little tiny backstory. When I first started with essential oils, I got my little intro kit thinking, maybe these will make my house smell better, thinking they would be like a replacement for candles. At the time, I knew very little about the toxicity of fragrance, but I just knew that, what a natural option would probably be a little bit better. When I dug in and then I smelled these intro kit of oils, I was like, I don't know if tea tree is really going to do that for me. And I half joke because I don't like the smell of tea tree, and I'm obviously not going to diffuse that oil in my house and replace a candle. It's not like pumpkin spice latte or anything, And so I'm like, there's more to these. I was such a newbie. And this was about 5 years ago, which I think most people were pretty newbies, unless like kind of early adopters, maybe the hippie granola moms, they were making their own, or, they knew about them. And it wasn't until I went to an educational class taught by the gal that, got me my kit. And I learned about one specific oil, and this is specific to doTERRA. It's a blend, and it's called On Guard. Some of you may be familiar with it. Those are a little more familiar with the Young Living brand. Thieves is our equivalent. And so that oil was one that was one of my very first experiences understanding that an oil could help my kids and myself stay healthier. Prior to that, I grew up in the antibiotic age, and I don't know that, some people didn't at this age, but I'm, in the 80s, 90s, when we were sick, my mom just brought us to the doctor and we got on an antibiotic.
Yep.
There probably wasn't a winter without it. And, or multiple. And that's so sad to me now because we just didn't know better. We really just didn't know better. So when I was raising kids, my husband was raised the same way. I'm still raising kids, but when I was, pre-oils, we kind of did the same. Kid was sick, you bring him to the doctor, you bring him to urgent care, you bring him to the minute clinic, whatever it is. And, they had been on antibiotics. Well, when we started hearing about oils, like how they really worked and how On Guard could work and how it could help with, keeping your cells healthy, I thought, okay, what do I got to lose, right? 3 kids in, elementary school at the time, even younger than that, going to, different people's houses. Sickness was all around us.
Everywhere.
And so when we started using On Guard, it was as simple as just having it in a little roller ball. And the reason that we do that is because you want to dilute essential oils. You want to make sure they're diluted because they're so concentrated. It's like, and I don't know if anyone will be able to relate with me on this, but when I was little, I love when my mom got the orange juice concentrate and I would literally eat it with a spoon, right? Or I was totally a Kool-Aid kid too. So I'd like to stick my finger in the Kool-Aid instead of making it. So many examples of that toxic, crazy living. But that's not how we're supposed to use orange juice, right? If you're really making a concentrated orange juice, which I don't do that anymore. But you want to dilute that because it's better. It's how it's supposed to be. And that's exactly how essential oils are. They're super concentrated. So a bottle like this, I just have a small one here in front of me. Like this bottle of oil has 85 drops in it. And if you dilute it, it's going to last you so much longer. So anyways, we would take On Guard and put it in a rollerball and just rub it on the bottom of the kids' feet. That's all I'd heard. And I thought, okay, I mean, that's easy, right? And so the kids wanted to start even doing it. So it wasn't another like to do on my list. And so they just rolled on the bottom of their feet. We are going on 5 years without antibiotics in our house. And we haven't missed a school day for health concerns since then. And so it'd be a different story if that was like our story all the way along. And it wasn't. It was antibiotics, big halt right when we first started using essential oils, and we're antibiotic free.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been amazing.
Yeah. So I think most people, when they think of essential oils, they do still think of like, oh, they're just a candle replacement. Like I can just diffuse them in my home. What are some other things you can do with essential oils, or maybe what essential oil do you use the most, and kind of what do you use it for?
Yeah, so if any one of you follow different essential oil people, a lot of times you'll see DIYs. You'll see things like bath bombs and laundry detergent and hand soaps. And I personally didn't relate with that. I'm not a DIYer. I worship the Pinterest moms. Like I say that half joking, but like that's just not who I am. And so when I thought, wow, I'm going to actually sell these things? Like, this is weird because I don't fit that total mold. But the reason I decided to start selling oils was because I had an amazing experience myself personally for the emotional health benefits of it. So kind of rewind, I started selling oils about a year into using them. I thought, I kind of said in my bio a little bit, I had this marketing design company. We were successful. I checked all the boxes. Like I had all these employees. I had, I'd hit the revenue goals that I'd wanted to. I mean, I had a beautiful office. It was just all those things like you dream of. And so when my neighbor was like, you should really sell these, I was like, you know what? You and every other network marketer thinks I should sell their thing. I'm not going to do it. So I said that for a year. Finally, like I said, when I had the emotional experience, like more of an emotional experience, I thought, wow, if I have this, and I had pretty bad anxiety. And so when I had, this anxiety and I was able to solve it, my personal, not claiming that everyone can, don't go off your meds if you're on them, not a doctor. But when I was able to use a couple of oils for that versus, maybe even having to go on medicine or just be the crazy person that I was at that time, it was like, I know if I feel this way, so many others do as well. And I wanted to help people with that solution with their oils. So again, rewind about 4 years. I had 4 different businesses, to be honest. I had my marketing design company. I owned a hair salon. I do not do hair, but somehow I got the good curls out of the salon. Like, they taught me how to do this, at least. It was an expensive lesson. And then third, I had helped create a makeup line with a really good friend. And then I added oils in. My marriage was suffering. Like, as a mom, my kiddos were going to my hubby before they'd come to me for things. And it just like, it's like not what I expected the mom role to be. And I realized is because I was all over the place, right? Mm-hmm. So the oils that I used, again, a couple of blends from doTERRA. I loved Serenity and Balance. So Serenity is a calming blend, a restful blend, and Balance is a grounding blend. So the two of those together, so good. I actually use them. I put them right on my chest because that's where when you have anxiety, that's where you feel that big kind of, weight there. And also like just kind of closed feeling. And then I also love them for sleep. So I put them in my diffuser every single night before I went to bed. And it helped me because a lot of times my anxiety would rise up in the middle of the night. I wouldn't be able to fall back asleep. So those were a huge shift for me. And like I said, lots of changes since then. Now 5 years later since I started, doTERRA just rolled out a new line specifically for stress. And they did a bunch of clinical trials, lots of cool stuff on it. And so I use that more now for anxiety than I do Serenity and Balance. But love them all, love them for the emotional side for sure.
Well, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Very neat. So what is like another thing you could use oils for? Like, I know sometimes I'll use oils. Like I like peppermint. mixed with some coconut oil, like if you have like sore muscles or for headaches. Maybe what's another oil that you could use for something kind of along those lines?
Yeah, so the three most basic oils, not blends, but the real basic oils, which a lot of you may have or you may have heard of, are lavender, peppermint, and lemon oil. So I can just touch a tiny bit on those three. Lavender was kind of the first one to the show for calming. It's helps calm, just calm your body, calm your nerves. It is a relaxing oil for most people. It's an oil that a lot of times, my first experience actually with essential oils, way before buying them, was when I had babies in the hospital. They put a drop in my water for my bath. And it was calming. I remember it was 2.5 years later, I went back, had another baby, and I was like, hey, that bottle, you put like something in my water? And they're like, oh, oils. I had no idea what they were. And so that is a really great way to use lavender. The other thing though about lavender is it's an antihistamine. And so meaning that, you have, allergies or whatnot. And I'll give you an exact example. My daughter really struggles with kitties. Like if there's a cat around, she wants to like snuggle them and all of that. But her eyes will start to get just itchy and puffy. And so all we do is just run a roller of lavender right around her eye, and she feels instant relief.
Interesting.
So it's awesome. It's so awesome. But I am, from Minnesota, now live in Wisconsin. Mosquitoes are just a thing, right?
Yes.
They're all over in the summer. And when I get bit by a mosquito, I look like like I have a war wound. Like,
yeah, so do I.
It's bad, right?
Yes.
So we always have lavender with us because my kids actually call it the itch stick. And so we always have it, roll it right on that mosquito bite. And it not only takes away the swelling, but it also takes away the itch. It's awesome.
Oh, I haven't heard of that. I'm totally trying that this summer.
It's so easy, and so inexpensive. Lavender is like a $20 bottle of oil for a big bottle. So then you're putting about 20 drops in that roller. I mean, it's super inexpensive. Okay. And then you don't have to look crazy or itch all night long at the cabin. Right. So I love lavender. There's so many great uses for this oil. It is just a really yummy smelling oil too, to just diffuse in your house. But peppermint was one of the first experiences that my daughter actually had. So kind of, again, back up, the reason I had bought oils, not only like make my house smell cleaner, but my neighbor that introduced me to them, her daughter was actually 15 months old going through chemotherapy for leukemia. And I remember meeting her. This part of the story was actually kind of comical, but I remember meeting her for the very first time. I'm in her driveway and I was like, yay, we just moved to the neighborhood. And, she all of a sudden, she starts telling me this story instantly about her daughter because she thought I would be questioning why her daughter was bald. Well, her daughter was only 15 months old. Like my kids were bald till they were like 3. So like I didn't even like question it, People actually started asking me if I shaved my kids' heads because my kids were bald for so long. No, I don't shave my kids' heads. Anyway, so she had shared this whole story with me. But the reason she got into oils is because in the hospital, when they were there for chemo, instead of giving an anti-nausea medication, this little girl's 15 months old, she's wanting to like just even grow, let alone have all this, chemicals and stuff in her. So they ended up giving them peppermint oil for her nausea. And so when I heard that, I was like, okay, these are like really relatable stories. I get that peppermint can do a million things, but if I have someone that has nausea for any reason, peppermint can work. So our 3-year-old really struggled in the car. She's always car sick. Vomit bag, fill it, gross mom stuff, right? And we live in Wisconsin, right on the border, so it's super hilly, right along the river. We go up to our cabin. She feels sick. Sucks. Now, all she has to do is she takes the bottle, takes the cap off, and just holds it. That's all she has to do in the car, and it completely takes away her nausea. Such a cool solution. And that costs nothing. I mean, not that we're all talking about all finances of this, but it is really cool how simple using oils are and how inexpensive it can be. Another thing that a lot of people use peppermint for is any sort of like head tension. So it might be like a headache or a migraine or just like that kind of tension from our forward neck of looking at our phones or looking at a screen too long. Peppermint can be super great for that. So I always say just apply it where you have that feeling of that, tension. And that's something to think about anytime you're using oils. People are always like, well, how do I use them? Where do I put them? And it's, no one ever has died from the use of essential oils. You'll be fine. I mean, don't like, put it in your eyeball, but I think that's, for 99% of the population, you're probably not thinking I should put peppermint in my eyeball. You never know though, right? That's why there's warnings on all.
That's right. You never know.
Right. But peppermint, really great. Put it where you feel that tension. And I mean, there's so many different uses. Peppermint is also really great for keeping a temperature down. And, our body has a temperature, like, because it's trying to fight something off, right? So it's not like we want to be like, oh, hurry up, let's take that temp down. And a lot of us have been trained, hey, let's grab some Tylenol or, do whatever to get that temperature down. Now, again, we don't always want to take it down right away, but sometimes it gets to a point where, little kids, you don't want them to have a super high temperature. We want to bring them just rubbing that peppermint right on their spine. And I've been told that's also super great when women have hot flashes. Not there yet.
Me either.
Also really great. And so it's like, yep, jogging that one back in the
I'm going to put that one back behind for when I come
exactly.
there.
I'll have that for a while. But in that case, you can roll it on, but a lot of times people will grab up a little spray bottle and put that with some distilled water, or witch hazel is a really good addition because it helps emulsify that oil in the water. Yep. And then you can spray it right on. So really, really great.
Interesting.
And then last but not least, lemon oil. I love to have lemon oil in my water. Now, there are very, very, very few brands. I can recommend doTERRA, obviously, that you can use internally. So if you're just grabbing an oil off the shelf, like, for sure, we just passed through the holidays, like, you're going to see, you saw them at Costco, you've seen them at Target, you've seen them at Walgreens. I mean, they're everywhere. And if you got gifted those or you bought them yourselves, like, I would say, like, tuck those away in the trash because they are a fragrance. Like, they are not an actual essential oil. The purity of oils makes a huge, huge difference. And so when I say this, it's like big disclaimer, like if I could put it on the screen, I would, using a pure essential oil that you trust internally is important.
Yes.
So lemon oil, I love to put in my water. I actually will always put it in a glass container or a metal container. If you put it in plastic, it could kind of leach away at that plastic, especially like cheaper plastic. So always glass, metal container. I always do 1 drop. And the reason I do lemon oil in the morning or any citrus oil is because it's really detoxifying. So everything that our body just did throughout the night, wanting to kind of rest and rejuvenate, and it's wanting to, release those toxins. It's why we got to go to the bathroom right away and we have stinky breath. Your body wants to get rid of this stuff, right? And so dropping a little lemon oil in there is going to help your body flush a bit more. And on the reverse side of that, or the other side of that, I guess I should say, is lemon oil is also amazing for cleaning. So just cleaning in general. I mean, if it's good for cleaning your body, it's good for cleaning your house in this instance. And I love to add this to any of my spray bottles or anything just to help with cleaning and the smell and the freshness. And it's also my replacement for Goo Gone. So kind of a random, the little sticky stuff on frames, which people use that. Anytime there's anything sort of sticky, degreaser kind of feeling. We just redid our cabinets. And so, you got to strip them down and we have professionally painted and stuff, but we had to get all the gunk off of it. Oh my God. Cupboards around your stove. I felt like so disgusting. Like, I was like, this is gross. I can't believe these were like hanging in my kitchen. So anyways, our buddy is a professional painter and he brought over like this degreaser. And I'm like, oh, I just can't even imagine what is in that. Like, I don't want to use this.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even really working. Like, it was like, I threw off my gloves and I'm like, nope, let's try lemon oil. We put a couple drops of lemon oil and it was like the dust and the grease and everything just came right off.
It's amazing.
And it was super. So pretty awesome. Yeah.
That is awesome. That's amazing. So cool. So yeah, so many different things that oils can do to really help inside of you, outside of you, help you with clean home. So tell us a little bit about, you kind of talked about how you started with doTERRA. So maybe tell us about like, how did you decide to like make it a business instead of just like something you kind of did, like as a hobby?
Yep. Great question. So as my neighbor said, Tina, you'd be so great at selling these. It wasn't that I was just great at selling them. It's that I had an influence with my community. They already knew me in this business space. My husband's actually a personal trainer. And so I got to have like his knowledge come into what we did as well. And people trusted us way more than I thought. Like people were going to trust me, jumping from, hey, I'll design your logo, to let's talk about your poop. I mean, like, it's just like completely different spectrums. My parents are so proud of me. But you know, she was accurate. She was accurate in that I'd be great at this because I love connecting with people. I already had a, binder full of business cards of people that I've connected with, that I've created relationships with, and I love like face-to-face. Even though I had a digital marketing company where we help people manage their social media, I always looked at that as a supplement to what you were doing in person. So you and I, Lisa, can connect, at networking events, but we can keep that conversation going and those connections online, right? But we're going to have a deeper relationship if we're in person. So for me, when I started, I had no plans of letting go of my marketing company. I was like, I will always have Tenacious. Like that will always be my thing. Oils will be over here. I even thought I would kind of do it like silent partner a little bit with my upline, kind of network marketing terminology, but the gal that enrolled me. And so I had her start teaching classes for me. So I would just invite people to classes, and it's like she would teach them, and I was like, oh, this is cute, this is fun, like we'll do this. And at one point I remember looking at my team, and I had about a dozen people on my team, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, like I better take advantage of this. This is so amazing. There's 11 people on my team. And at the time I thought that was a huge deal. And if anyone's starting with network marketing and you got 11 people on your team and you're excited, go you. But now I realize like that was not very big. And I wasn't probably going to be able to leave any jobs with that. But it is what sparked me to start doing this more on a regular basis. And fast forward actually about a year ago. So it was, about a year and a half ago, I ended up, I was at my office, my marketing, design company. I was at my office, and a gentleman had wanted to hear about the doTERRA business. And I had already reached some pretty high levels in the business. At that time, I think I had about 3,000 people on my team. And, it was continuing to grow. So this gentleman, people start perking interest when you've been doing it for a while, right? And also really uncommon for a guy, to be reaching out, but uncommon me to be meeting with someone on the business side, not oils first, right? So anyways, he comes to my office. He's asking me every question. He knows what rank I am. So it's public knowledge, that you can look up online and say, hey, you're this rank. This is about how much money she's making, estimate. So when we're leaving, he's saying goodbye, thanks, blah, 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 right? And he looks at me and he looks around my marketing office and he goes, if you're this successful here in doTERRA, like, what the heck are you doing with all this? And my little 2-year-old brain, and I don't know if you know anything about the Enneagram, but I'm an 8. And so super challenger and just anyways, I could go on and on about that. But I'm like, who are you to say what I should do or not do? And it sounds so babyish, but I was like, cause I want to. So anyways, he leaves. And I go back and sit down at my desk and I pull out my planner, and this planner is written by a Christian woman. And she often has quotes in the corner of this planner. And one of the quotes was by Francis Chan, who's a pretty well-known pastor in the United States. And it said, we should not have fear of failure, but of succeeding at the wrong thing. And it was like, oh my gosh, we should not have fear of failure, but of succeeding at the wrong thing. And I thought, I still get goosebumps. I mean, I was a year and a half ago, and I still get goosebumps when I see that, or when I say it, or when I read it, because it changed everything for me. I literally sat against the wall in my office. No one was there. And I just started bawling. I called my husband. I was like, babe, I got to let it go. And he's like, what? Okay. I think he kind of saw the writing on the wall with where my attention was going anyways. But it really helped me refocus, because I think it's hard. I went to school for marketing design. I, again, built this agency. I did all the check boxes. I was doing everything right. And then now I'm going to get into network marketing. Like, what? And I'm way in. I've sold my soul to network marketing, not totally, but I'm in, right? this is how our whole family survives on the income, is through network marketing. So I still have those days though where I'm like, really? Like, this is what I'm doing? So I get it that, someone may be listening to this, like, this is crazy. What the heck, that someone can actually be successful with this, that it is a legitimate business. It's not a pyramid scheme. It's not, it's not all those like kind of negative things people may have about the industry. And so about that time actually before I let go of my marketing company, my husband, we were in a position where his job was just toxic and he needed to be done with it. Like, it just needed to be over, and we didn't know how it would be financially. It's almost like, if anyone's been in that place where you're thinking about having another kid and you're like, I don't even know where the money would come from, where are money diapers and all the stuff. And then somehow it just works out.
Yeah.
It's kind of what happened for us. So he needed to leave this toxic environment, this toxic job. And then here we were, doTERRA was rising, the income was coming in more, the writing was on the wall that things were getting, even growing bigger and better. And he decided to start his own gig. So he does some personal training. We actually moved it here to our house. Our whole garage is turned into a gym. So I get to park outside. It's fabulous. So it's
you have to build yourself a garage.
Yes, exactly. That's the next goal, for real. So I say doTERRA is our main source of income. Of course, having a garage studio isn't, we're not, exploding. We're not going to be the next big bucks gym, and that's not the goal. It's more of a lifestyle business. He loves it. I love it. We both work from home. I think I said to you before, Lisa, like, can you hear that? Because he was vacuuming while we were starting to record, just to make sure. So that's like our life now. But it has been a completely viable opportunity for us. And it started out really small. Like, I started out, like I said, being kind of a silent partner in this, hoping that it could kind of grow a little bit without me. And then I stepped in and it just really took off. And I was able to do it alongside of having other businesses, which I actually think was crucial for me in the beginning, is that I was already going. Like, I was already all over the place. I was already meeting people. I already knew how to do things. And so that was good for me. Now other people have a different story. Like, they're a stay-at-home mom, or they're not even a stay-at-home mom. They're like a retired grandma, right? And they're like, well, I don't have connections. So that's okay. We can make them. Like, it took me 10 years to be an overnight success, so it might take you a little bit longer too. So, yeah. Yeah.
So any tips you could tell someone? I know research has come out that says like 80% of Americans just need an extra $250, to kind of survive or to kind of do the next thing they want to do. What could be like a tip if someone is looking at getting into network marketing, or maybe is in network marketing, that they could do to just like get that next pay grade, or just get that extra $250 that they need?
Yep. So there's kind of a belief system along the journey in any business, but specifically in network marketing. And the first belief level is that you have a belief in your product. So if you're in a company where you're not totally sold on the product, either go all in or find a different one.
I agree.
That's very first. Like, product has to be, like, I'm the kind of person, and I imagine you are too, Lisa, like, you could probably sell anything. Like, we have a personality, you could sell whatever. But if you are truly passionate about it, you're going to sell so much more. I mean, if I could look at every single invoice of every single person and what they were buying in my organization, I know I'm influencing a lot of my team to buy the things that I love and that I buy and that I use, even though they have access to everything, right? But the love for the product. And then there's going to be maybe some products that you don't love that your company sells. Like, there are actually a couple of products, like we have a shake line. I don't like it. Like, and so if someone asks me, I know I don't like it. Like, it doesn't have enough protein in it. It's not a meal replacement. So I don't want people to use it. That's just my own personal opinion. I'm sure there's tons of people on my team that still order it. But I have belief in the core of our product. So the core of our product is essential oils, wellness, pure products. Yay, I can check that box. Then you move up into having a belief in the company and just the business opportunity. So the thing is if you don't have a belief in the product, then when people come at you like, hey, I've heard about this other essential oil company, what compare it with me. And that will be a roadblock for you because you don't have a belief enough in your product. And it's interesting. I didn't really understand this whole concept of the belief kind of steps And so people would come to me, like new leaders, and they'd be like, Tina, someone just asked me about X and X brand. And, I don't even know what to say to them. And I was like, God, I never get that question. And I realized I do, it just doesn't hang me up. It doesn't make me have to stop and pause. So then that next level is understanding the company side of it and knowing, do you love the company? Like, do you love who, the company, what they represent, who they are? And then do you believe in the industry as far as network marketing? And then the third one is believing in yourself. And the confidence piece is one of the things that people struggle with the very most is the confidence in themselves. And the more confident you are, like, that's all what sales is about. In the past, I've ran, and I'm not doing it right now because I'm so niche and focused on building my doTERRA business. But in the past, and I'm sure it will roll out again, I'm writing a book on contagiously confident. So how contagious confidence is, and people want to be around you more when that's a thing. Like they want to be around you. They want what you want. The products, the lifestyle, the things. And it's not because they're like keeping up with the Joneses or they're in comparison. It's just that you're attracting them totally. So, I mean, that someone answers your question, I think, but if they needed to just step in a little bit, it's like, be bold. So you love the product, you love your company, you're working on that confidence, that self-development, grab up a book, grab up a networking group, like that. It's that next level is just being bold to ask people to either be your customer or to do this business with you. And the quicker you ask someone to do the business with you, way faster this is going to go. Because if I had to invite everyone to oil classes with me, every single person I had to invite, you guys, there's no way I'd have over 3,000 people in my organization. Like it couldn't be a thing. I would never have done it. In this total time that I've been doing this business, about 200 people have been people I have brought into this team. That still sounds like a lot for a lot of people, but that's like my mom's like coworker and my like church lady friends. And, like it's still people I didn't know then, but I got to know later. But when I first started this, I reached out to 3 people. How our structure works, 3 people was like the first kind of level that I wanted to get to.
Sure.
And so 3 people that were building this business, I said, hey, I'm going to do this. Do you want to do this with me? And that is such a key phrase, because do you want to do this with me? And not this is my thing. And do you want to do it? It's like big sister, little sister. It's like, no, let's be like cousins and let's do this together,
Right.
And so that was huge. I asked 3 people that actually all said yes. And that's just the power of already having an influence. So that might not be your story. If you don't right now have an influence, doesn't mean you can't have an influence at some point. You just need to work on it. They said yes. Business just started to grow. And then I boldly asked people over and over again to come to classes and to sit down and do a one-to-one, and not in an annoying spamming way to like, I know some of you may be thinking, oh goodness, she's that girl. No, I'm not that girl. I don't reach out to someone I went to high school with and be like, hey, remember me? I think you'd be really good at that. Like, that's not my jam. I will passively aggressively for sure, like invite you to things. They're not passively aggressively, but just passively invite you to things over and over again.
Sure.
You're like, no. And I rarely hear the no because I'm asking the right people.
And I think the key to that is most people get so hung up on like, well, someone's going to say no. And it's like, it's okay if they say no. Like, it's maybe not meant for them right now, or maybe they're just not interested right now. And that's okay, because you have to get the no's too. Yep. And if you get the no's, that's great. Then that's another person you don't have to call, right? Or you don't have to talk to. And just don't be afraid of the no's, because it doesn't always mean no for forever. It just might mean no right now.
Yep. And that's so true. It's funny. I had a gal she was our nanny when my kids were real young, and I'd stay connected with her. We have like lots of the same views, political views, religious views. Like, she's pretty bold about her sharing on stuff, and I'm not as bold about that because I don't want to lose every friend that I have.
Right.
But she's really bold about it. She just cracks me up. Love her. And I actually reached out to her for 3 years. You should be my customer. You should build this. You need to do this. And she said no. Like, she straight up said no to me. She like had me price match different oil companies with hers. And like, I mean, she really made me work, right? So all of a sudden one day she said, Tina, I think I want to do this. And she goes, don't go too crazy on me yet. She goes, but I think I want to do this. And I was like, wow, what made you say yes? And she had been listening to my podcast. And so I have a podcast called Tena Talks A. And she'd been listening to it. And she's like, okay, I trust Preston and Tina. That's my husband. I trust them. They're actually really doing this still this much longer. And if she's doing it, like, I can do it. Like, that was her whole thought process on it. Well, about 2 months in, she had started to get some no's from people when she started doing the business. And she asked me, she goes, Tina, what do you do when you get no's? And I was like, oh, people don't say no to me. I can't think of a no. She had said no to me for 3 years. But it was like, I already had such a strong belief that it was like a when, not like, it's not like a no or a yes. It's like a just when is it going to happen? Because I truly believed this was going to be her thing. So now she's off to the races, enrolling people all the time, teaching her own classes, has her own leaders. It's amazing. But I knew it. I put that belief in her, even when she didn't have it in herself. And that's a huge part of leadership.
That is. So finding someone that you are comfortable with, finding someone that can be that great leader for you. And if you're in a network marketing company and like you're loving it, it's your jam, and maybe your leader just isn't quite there for you, find somebody else within the organization that can help you. Because everybody in that organization should be willing to help anyone, no matter what, because everybody wants to see everyone succeed and grow. So,
Yeah, the excuse and kind of alluding to the idea that sometimes people will say, well, I don't have an upline, I don't have a leader, no one's there. And it's like, do not let that be your excuse. If you love the product and you love the company, you can do this without the support of a direct person above you. It could be so much. I mean, you can learn from other network marketing company leaders. I do it all the time. I love it. I love, I'm like, ooh, what's Beauty County doing? Oh, what's Lorex doing? Like, I love kind of pulling different ideas, because if everyone did it exactly like everyone else in doTERRA, well, that's no fun.
Right.
Exactly. And it's cool to learn from other businesses for sure.
It is. Well, awesome. Thank you so much for being on the Fit Freedom podcast. You gave us all a ton of information, lots to think about. So if you guys are wanting to know more about oils, how can they get a hold of you?
My Instagram is absolutely the best place. So it's just at Tena Pettis. My name is spelled a little bit different, Tena, and more than likely I'll pop right up. So Tena Pettis everywhere. No one has the name Tina. Well, not no one. Tena Pettis for sure. You'll find me. It's also my website, tenapettis.com. So anytime. So I love to chat over there. I have lots of oil education on my Instagram, but even more than oil education, I lean towards the business education. And so if you're running your own network marketing company, you're running your own business, and you just want to follow along and hang out, I'd be happy to have you over there.
Awesome. So go check Tina out. And as always, we will see you next time on the Fit Freedom podcast. Thanks again, everyone.